Have you ever looked back on your life and wondered, why did this happen to me? Some days it feels like the world is working against us. Career setbacks, health struggles, broken relationships. We can feel lost, as if we're drifting through a storm with no shore in sight. But what if I told you that everything happens for a reason? Would you believe it? No, I'm not talking about fate or some mysterious grand design. I'm talking about a philosophy that has helped millions of people, from the great minds of ancient Rome to modern-day thinkers, find peace amid life's chaos. Stoicism. This philosophy doesn't promise an easy life, but it gives you something far more powerful: the ability to control your thoughts and reactions. Instead of resisting the inevitable, Stoics learn to accept, adapt, and remain steady in the face of adversity, because they understand that every hardship is not a roadblock. It's a lesson, a challenge meant to shape you into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. So how can you apply Stoic thinking to your daily life? How can you turn obstacles into opportunities? Stay with me until the end of this video as we explore the profound lessons of Stoic philosophy and how history's greatest Stoics use these principles to overcome life's toughest challenges. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video on life, philosophy, and becoming the best version of yourself. 1. Impermanence and acceptance. A core Stoic principle. One of the fundamental tenets of Stoicism is the understanding that nothing in life is permanent. Everything changes, the seasons shift, relationships evolve, our bodies age, and even our emotions fluctuate like the tide. This realization, though unsettling to some, is actually a source of great strength and wisdom. The Stoics teach us that the key to inner peace is not in resisting change, but in learning to embrace it with grace and composure. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher emperor, once wrote, "Everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." These words serve as a powerful reminder that suffering is often intensified by our resistance to reality. When we fight against the inevitable, we create unnecessary frustration and distress. But when we accept change, when we acknowledge that all things in life are temporary, we free ourselves from the burden of disappointment. Understanding impermanence through everyday life. Imagine you're taking a peaceful stroll through the park, enjoying the fresh air, when suddenly dark clouds gather and a heavy downpour begins. You weren't prepared for this. You have no umbrella, no raincoat, and within minutes you're drenched from head to toe. The immediate reaction might be irritation. Why now? Why me? But pause for a moment. What if, instead of feeling frustrated, you simply accept the moment as it is? You take a deep breath, feel the cool raindrops on your skin, listen to the rhythmic sound of water hitting the pavement, and recognize that this too shall pass. This small shift in perception transforms an unpleasant experience into a meditative one. The rain was never the problem, your resistance to it was. Life is full of sudden downpours, setbacks in your career, health challenges, the loss of loved ones. While we cannot stop these events from happening, we can choose how we respond to them. Why do we struggle with change? Humans are creatures of habit. We seek stability because it provides comfort and a sense of control. But this desire for permanence is an illusion. The world has never been static, and neither are we. Everything around us is in constant motion. People come and go, economies rise and fall, our bodies grow older with each passing day. Yet despite knowing this, we often cling to the familiar, hoping that things will remain as they are. This attachment leads to suffering. When we desperately hold on to something that is bound to change, whether it's our youth, a relationship, or a certain phase in life, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But what if, instead of resisting, we prepared ourselves for change? What if we trained our minds to accept impermanence not as a loss, but as a natural, even necessary, part of life? Lessons from the Stoics. The art of letting go. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-Stoic philosopher, emphasized that the root of suffering lies not in external events, but in our attachment to them. He taught that we should approach life as a guest at a banquet. Enjoy what is before you, but don't cling to it. When the host removes a dish, don't lament its absence. Simply appreciate the fact that you had the chance to taste it in the first place. This perspective applies to all aspects of life. Your health, for example, may be strong today, but it will inevitably decline with age. A wise person does not despair over this reality. Instead, they make the most of their physical abilities while they still have them. Likewise, friendships and relationships are beautiful, but they evolve over time. Instead of grieving change, we should cherish the moments we share with others while we can. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, put it beautifully. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. So many people spend their lives dwelling on the past or fearing the future, forgetting to fully experience the present. The more we learn to let go, the more we allow ourselves to truly live. The next time you feel frustrated by change, try this simple Stoic exercise. Pause and observe. Instead of immediately reacting with frustration, take a step back. Recognize the change occurring and acknowledge it without judgment. Remind yourself of impermanence. Ask yourself, was this ever truly permanent? Whether it's a missed opportunity, a relationship that has ended, or a shift in circumstances, remind yourself that change is the nature of life. Focus on what you can control. You may not be able to stop change, but you can control how you respond to it. Choose acceptance over resistance. Practice gratitude. Instead of mourning what's gone, appreciate what you still have. Every experience, even the painful ones, contributes to your growth. By training ourselves to embrace impermanence, we cultivate a sense of inner peace that no external force can shake. Life is a river, always moving forward. The more we try to hold on to the water, the more it slips through our fingers. But when we learn to flow with it, we discover a newfound freedom, one that allows us to live fully, fearlessly, and without regret. So the next time life throws an unexpected storm your way, remember, you can't stop the rain, but you can learn to dance in it. 2. Challenges are opportunities for growth. Life is full of challenges, and no one is immune to them. Whether it's financial struggles, health issues, personal setbacks, or emotional distress, difficulties are an inevitable part of the human experience. But while many people view obstacles as roadblocks that prevent them from moving forward, Stoicism teaches us to see them as stepping stones for growth and self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very obstacles that seem to hinder us can actually shape us into stronger, wiser individuals. Every challenge, every hardship is an opportunity to develop resilience, patience, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. Reframing difficulties. Why struggles make us stronger. Imagine going to the gym and lifting the lightest weights every day. You might feel comfortable, but you wouldn't get any stronger. Muscles grow when they are challenged, when they are pushed beyond their limits and forced to rebuild stronger than before. The same principle applies to our minds and spirits. When we face hardships, we are given a chance to develop mental toughness, emotional intelligence, and a greater capacity for endurance. Many people fear failure because they believe it defines them. But in reality, failure is nothing more than feedback. It tells us what doesn't work so that we can adjust and try again. Every challenge carries a lesson, but only if we are willing to see it that way. The story of Thomas Edison. A lesson in perseverance. A perfect example of this mindset is Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. Throughout his career, Edison faced thousands of failed experiments. Many would have given up, but he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Had Edison viewed each failure as a personal defeat, he would have stopped long before he succeeded. Instead, he saw every unsuccessful attempt as part of the process, as another step toward his ultimate goal. This mindset, seeing failure not as an end, but as a necessary part of success, is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Think about your own life. Have you ever faced a situation where something didn't go as planned? Maybe you were rejected from a job, lost an important relationship, or struggled to achieve a personal goal. Did you allow that setback to define you, or did you use it as motivation to improve and try again? Hardships is a training ground for resilience. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, once wrote, Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. The idea is simple. Just as our bodies need resistance to grow stronger, so do our minds. Consider the story of Helen Keller. As a child, she lost both her sight and hearing, and many believed she would never be able to communicate or live independently. But instead of succumbing to despair, she worked relentlessly to learn how to communicate with the world. With the help of her teacher, Anne Sullivan, she not only learned to read and write, but became an influential author, activist, and public speaker. Helen Keller's life is proof that hardship does not define us. Our response to it does. Now compare this to how many people today react to challenges. It's easy to become discouraged when things don't go our way. But the truth is, every struggle we face is an opportunity to build character, strengthen our resolve, and prove to ourselves that we are capable of overcoming adversity. So how can we train ourselves to see difficulties as opportunities rather than setbacks? The Stoics offer a few powerful strategies. 1. Change your perspective. Instead of seeing an obstacle as something that stops you, reframe it as something that strengthens you. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? 2. Focus on what you can control. You may not be able to change the challenge itself, but you can control your reaction to it. Instead of wasting energy complaining or feeling defeated, channel your energy into finding solutions and moving forward. 3. Practice gratitude for hardships. This may sound counterintuitive, but some of life's most valuable lessons come from our struggles. When you look back on your life, you'll likely realize that the hardest moments were also the ones that shaped you the most. 4. Adopt a long-term mindset. The pain of today may be the wisdom of tomorrow. Think of every challenge as part of your larger journey, not just an isolated incident. Turning adversity into strength. History is full of individuals who turned adversity into greatness. Abraham Lincoln lost multiple elections before becoming one of America's most revered presidents. Oprah Winfrey faced poverty and personal hardships before becoming a global icon. These individuals and countless others refused to let failure define them. Instead, they used their struggles as fuel to rise higher than they ever thought possible. The next time you face a difficult situation, remember, this is not a roadblock. This is a training ground. Each hardship is an opportunity to sharpen your skills, deepen your understanding, and strengthen your character. Stoicism doesn't teach us to avoid pain. It teaches us how to use pain to become better. So ask yourself, what challenge are you facing today? How can you use it to grow stronger? Because once you start seeing difficulties as opportunities, you'll realize that nothing in life can truly hold you back. Only your mindset can hold you back. Only your mindset can. 3 actions determine outcomes. Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This statement reveals a powerful truth. Our fears and anxieties often stem not from the actual events of life, but from how we perceive and react to them. In other words, our suffering is often self-inflicted, not because of what happens to us, but because of how we choose to interpret and respond to it. Many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect conditions to take action. They hesitate because of fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of making the wrong choice. But in doing so, they become trapped in inaction, allowing life to pass them by. Stoicism teaches us that waiting for the ideal moment is an illusion. The only thing that truly shapes our lives is what we do today. Stephen Hawking, A Story of Unyielding Action. A remarkable example of this principle is the life of Stephen Hawking. Diagnosed with ALS at a young age, he gradually lost control of his muscles and was told he had only a few years to live. It would have been easy for him to succumb to despair, to see his condition as an insurmountable barrier. But instead, Hawking chose action. He continued his research, wrote books, and lectured through a voice synthesizer, transforming the world's understanding of black holes and the nature of time. His book, A Brief History of Time, became a global phenomenon, making complex scientific theories accessible to millions. Hawking didn't allow his condition to define him. He defined himself through his actions. His life is a testament to the Stoic belief that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. The illusion of fear, how overthinking holds us back. Many of us hesitate to act because we fear failure. But the truth is, failure itself is not the real enemy. Paralysis by fear is. People spend years contemplating a dream, a goal, or a change they want to make but never take the first step. Why? Because they imagine every possible obstacle and worst-case scenario, convincing themselves that the risks are too great. But if we examine history, we see that the most successful individuals were those who embraced action despite uncertainty. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They made the moment perfect by acting decisively. Think about a time in your life when you hesitated to take action. Maybe it was applying for a new job, starting a business, or expressing your feelings to someone important. Looking back, was the fear justified? Or was it simply your mind creating obstacles that didn't truly exist? Stoic wisdom, the power of taking responsibility. The Stoics believe that self-discipline and responsibility are the keys to achieving great outcomes. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, emphasized that we should never blame external circumstances for our failures. Instead, we should take full ownership of our lives. One way to apply this principle is through the circle of control exercise. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what is within my control? My effort, attitude, decisions, and actions. What is outside my control? Other people's opinions, unexpected events, the past. By focusing only on what we can influence, we eliminate wasted energy on things beyond our reach and channel our efforts into meaningful action. Turning thought into action, practical Stoic strategies. If action determines results, then how can we train ourselves to be more proactive and fearless in pursuing our goals? Here are 3 Stoic-inspired strategies. The memento mori mindset. Remember that time is limited. The Stoics often meditated on mortality, not to induce fear, but to inspire urgency. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I regret not taking action? This perspective eliminates procrastination and forces us to live with purpose. The pre-mortem exercise. Anticipate obstacles, but don't be paralyzed by them. Before embarking on a goal, the Stoics would visualize everything that could go wrong, not to deter them, but to prepare them. By expecting difficulties, they were never caught off guard and always had a plan of action. Daily action, no matter how small. Momentum is built through consistency. Even if you're not ready to take a giant leap, commit to a small action every day. Progress compounds over time, and eventually small steps lead to massive results. Your actions shape your legacy. At the end of the day, our lives are not defined by what we think, dream, or hope for. They are defined by what we do. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not intelligence, luck, or talent. It is the willingness to act despite uncertainty. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. This is the essence of Stoicism. Stop waiting, stop overthinking, act. So ask yourself today, what action have I been avoiding? What step can I take right now to move forward? Because at the end of your life, you won't remember the fears that held you back. You'll only remember whether you had the courage to act. 4. Letting go to find inner peace. One of the greatest sources of human suffering comes from our desire to control the uncontrollable. We want certainty in an uncertain world, stability in an ever-changing life, and control over things that are inherently outside our grasp. But Stoicism teaches us that true peace is not found in trying to manipulate the world around us, but in learning to master our reactions to it. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, put it simply, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This principle reminds us that while we may not control the storms of life, we do control how we navigate through them. Letting go of what we cannot control. Think about the last time you were deeply frustrated or stressed. Was it because of something you had the power to change? Or was it because of something outside your control? Often, we waste immense energy worrying about things that we cannot influence. Other people's opinions, the past, the future, unexpected challenges. But what if instead of trying to fight against reality, we simply let go? This is not an act of resignation, it is an act of wisdom. Letting go means accepting life as it comes, focusing on what is within our power, and refusing to let external circumstances dictate our inner peace. Albert Einstein. A lesson in focus. A powerful example of this mindset is Albert Einstein. As a child, he was considered slow, struggled in school, and was even thought to be intellectually deficient. Many teachers doubted his potential. But rather than dwelling on these negative opinions or trying to change how others saw him, Einstein chose to focus on what he could control: his passion for science, his curiosity, and his relentless pursuit of knowledge. Had he spent his life trying to convince others that he was capable, he might have never discovered his true genius. Instead, by letting go of the need for external validation, he directed all his energy into his work, eventually becoming one of the greatest physicists of all time. His story is a testament to the power of redirecting focus from what we cannot control to what truly matters. Why letting go leads to freedom. Many people resist the idea of letting go because they believe it means giving up. But in reality, letting go is the ultimate act of empowerment. It means freeing ourselves from unnecessary suffering, from the weight of expectations, and from the exhausting need to control every outcome. When we learn to let go, we stop being prisoners of the past. Regret and resentment no longer hold us back. We stop fearing the future. Anxiety loses its grip because we understand that we cannot control tomorrow, only how we prepare for it. We gain mental clarity. Without the burden of trying to change the unchangeable, we have more energy to invest in meaningful actions. Practical Stoic strategies for letting go. If you struggle with letting go, here are some practical ways to cultivate this mindset. 1. The control test. When faced with frustration, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, consciously decide to release it from your mental space. 2. Practice amor fati, love of fate. This Stoic concept encourages us to not only accept what happens, but to embrace it as necessary for our growth. Instead of resisting life's twists and turns, try seeing them as opportunities. 3. Reframe setbacks as redirection. When things don't go as planned, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" 4. Focus on your inner world. Train yourself to derive happiness from internal qualities, your mindset, your values, your actions, rather than external circumstances. Finding peace through acceptance. At its core, Stoicism teaches us that peace is not the result of controlling the world, but of mastering our reactions to it. When we let go of what we cannot change, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that you need to release? What? 5. Maintaining inner peace in all circumstances. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or try to control our surroundings, unexpected challenges will arise. From financial troubles to personal losses, from daily frustrations to life-altering hardships, true peace is not found in avoiding difficulties, but in learning how to remain calm despite them. Helen Keller, who was both blind and deaf from childhood, is a powerful example of this mindset. Despite facing what many would consider insurmountable obstacles, she became a celebrated author, activist, and lecturer. She once said, "We can do no great things without perseverance." Her life is a testament to the idea that inner peace is not about eliminating emotions, but about mastering them. Why do we lose our inner peace? Many people believe that peace comes from external stability, having enough money, good health, and harmonious relationships. But what happens when life inevitably throws a curveball? If our peace is tied to external factors, it will always be fragile, easily shattered by circumstances beyond our control. Stoicism teaches that true peace is internal. It is something we cultivate through self-discipline, perspective, and emotional control. The reason most people struggle with maintaining peace is that they allow their emotions to control them instead of the other way around. They react impulsively to stress, anger, or fear without realizing that they have a choice in how they respond. Helen Keller's unshakable mindset Imagine living in a world where you cannot see or hear, cut off from the sounds of laughter, the sight of a sunrise, or the simple joy of reading a book. Many would fall into despair, but Helen Keller did not. Instead of dwelling on what she lacked, she focused on what she could control, her ability to learn, to think, and to inspire others. Through patience, resilience, and unwavering determination, Keller not only adapted to her limitations, but transformed them into strengths. She proved that inner peace is not about having an easy life, but about developing the strength to rise above challenges. The Stoic approach to inner peace. The Stoics believed that maintaining inner peace required three key practices. 1. Control over reactions. We cannot control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. When something upsetting happens, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, does reacting with anger, frustration, or fear help me in this situation? 2. Focusing on the present. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, warned about the dangers of living in the past or fearing the future. He wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Much of our distress comes from worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. By grounding ourselves in the present moment, we reduce unnecessary anxiety. 3. Acceptance of life's uncertainties. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, encouraged people to accept life as it unfolds. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When we accept that uncertainty is a part of life, we stop resisting it and, in doing so, find peace. Practical steps to cultivate inner peace. If you want to develop unshakable inner peace, consider incorporating these Stoic-inspired strategies into your daily life. 1. The pause method. When faced with stress, take a moment to pause before reacting. Count to 10, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that you are in control of your emotions. 2. Journaling for clarity. Writing down your thoughts can help you process emotions objectively. Each evening, ask yourself, what events disturbed my peace today? How could I have responded better? 3. Daily Stoic reflection. Start your day with a grounding thought. Remind yourself, I will encounter obstacles today, but they are opportunities for growth. I will remain calm and in control. 4. Letting go of what you can't control. The next time you feel frustrated by something outside your power, such as bad traffic or someone else's behavior, practice consciously letting go. Ask yourself, is this worth disturbing my peace? Real freedom comes from mastering the mind. At the core of Stoic philosophy is the understanding that true freedom is not about controlling the outside world, but about mastering our own thoughts and emotions. When we stop allowing external circumstances to dictate our moods, we become untouchable, able to navigate life's highs and lows with grace. Helen Keller's story is not just one of overcoming adversity, it is one of choosing resilience over despair, focus over frustration, and peace over chaos. If she, despite her immense challenges, could cultivate an unshakable sense of purpose and tranquility, so can we. So the next time life tests your patience, remember, you have a choice. You can react with frustration, or you can embrace the moment with wisdom. The path to peace is always within your control. The only question is, will you take it? At the heart of Stoicism lies a simple yet profound truth. Everything happens for a reason. While we cannot always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. This shift in perspective can be life-changing. Instead of seeing obstacles as misfortunes, we can view them as lessons. Instead of resisting change, we can learn to accept it. Instead of fearing uncertainty, we can embrace it as a natural part of life. By applying Stoic principles, we develop resilience, patience, and emotional control, qualities that help us navigate life's ups and downs with grace. When we learn to master our reactions, let go of what we cannot control, and take decisive action toward what truly matters, we become stronger, calmer, and more purposeful in everything we do. Remember, peace is not found in a life without hardships, but in a mind that remains steady despite them. Acceptance, self-discipline, and the courage to face challenges. These are the tools that will help you grow, not just as a person, but as someone who truly lives rather than merely exists. What's your Stoic lesson? Have you ever faced a difficult situation that in hindsight turned out to be a valuable lesson? What challenge have you overcome that made you a better person? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your story in the comments below. If you found value in Stoic philosophy and want to learn more about applying it to everyday life, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content that inspires and empowers. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video on Stoicism, personal growth, and inner peace. Remember, the journey to wisdom and resilience begins with a single step. Will you take it?